Okay, good morning, everybody. Gonna do another little demonstration on mixing purple. The last one I did was working with greens, and today we're gonna do purple. Again, I'm staying with starting with a base of the primary colors. So the primary colors are yellow, red, and blue. So today we'll be working with red and blue, some white, and I'm just trying to keep this short. So right now I have cadmium red and a French ultramarine blue. The cadmium red is opaque and the ultramarine blue is on the transparent side. And then I did put down here a splash of these are Windsor Newton colors of purple, which is also, or I think it's a Windsor violet. It's also transparent. So starting from the basics, so mixing red and blue, you get purple. So I'm going to take a little bit of the red and a little bit of the blue. And in theory, you want to do equal parts. I mean, I'm sure I'm not always doing that. And maybe I don't always want to do it because it impacts the type of purple that I'm gonna have. So right here, this doesn't look so, I don't know. It's an interesting color. I was gonna say it's not so interesting, but it is. I'm just gonna put these on the canvas first. So here's just a splash of the red, and sorry, I'm doing this one-handed, so it's a little tricky. Here's a splash of the blue. It's got a little bit of the red mixed in there. You can see that's really the blue up there, I think, for my last little demonstration of mixing. And then I'm going to put this mix that we have here next to them. It looks kind of grayed up, and that's something that will happen when you mix two colors. There's always the colors start to degrade, and that's okay, but it's just good to know. So now if I add a little bit of white to this red and purple mix, I start to see something else. And this is more on the violet side because looks like I definitely have more red in there than blue. So it's still like on the gray side, but it's a nice color. It could be a nice type of a gray, kind of more on the violet side. And then if I come back down here and add a little bit more of the French ultramarine blue, you can see it starts to get more on the purple side of things. So we're going to put that in here. Still a gray, looks like a gray. So that's how these two colors work, and it depends on what tube color you are using. So there's different types of reds, there's different types of blues. Those are all going to impact the type of violet or purple that you achieve. Now here, I'm going to just bring in the Windsor Newton violet. I'm going to put that on here. And this is where sometimes, in certain instances, it's helpful to buy the pre-mixed tube color. And that's how I think about these. They're pre-mixed, but they're much more intense. And sometimes you want that they're not so gray. They're more clear color. This is good, especially with flowers, things that really need a vibrant, clear color. Buying the premixed tube, like an orange, for example, can be helpful. So here I'm adding a little bit of white to this Windsor violet. And you can see how it changes because I've got different amounts of white on my brush here. It's just it's a different color. I was going to say, I want to say it's prettier. For me it is. I like the color better, but these other ones have a use in my paintings for sure. So here's the Windsor Violet, just with some white. Here's another pass of Windsor Violet with less weight in it. So I'm going to do one more little example. I wanted to share a really pretty color that I will mix at times. So I like a combination of, it is the French Ultramarine blue with some of the Windsor Violet. And I like, it gives me like a, what I would call more of an indigo. It can be a more indigo blue. It's like a purpley blue, depending on which way I head with what I'm the degree or percentages of what I'm mixing together of the ultramarine blue and the Windsor Violet. So that's, I'm going to put this one up here. This is a really pretty color. I like it for shadows and things of that nature. And it's different than the ones down here. It's just very different. Still more intense of a color than the ones here with the just the red and the blue. Or maybe a little less. It's a little less intense than down just the examples of the Windsor Violet, because like I said, we mixed two colors together, so there's a little bit of degradation that goes on, and you don't really need to know that, but it's just fun to mix the colors. I highly recommend it. I have spent many hours just mixing colors, making color wheels or color charts. Here's one that I did some years ago, experimenting with violets, and what happens when I mix different colors together to create violets. And I just made notes of which paints I was using. And it's fun to see. I mean, that's what gets me excited, the colors. And then I keep these, I can keep them as a reference if I want to go back, because there's a color that I want to utilize. And then it's nice also, like even here, yellow and purple, or orange and purple, they're complementary colors, so they work well together and enhance each other. So that's part of this little demonstration as well. And you can reach out if you have any questions. Just play around, it's a lot of fun. And here's my palette, and I definitely recommend using a palette knife to mix the colors, not relying on your brush to do that. So mix them with your palette knife. It keeps the colors more clear, and you just get a better job of get a better job done of the mixing, I think. So I will end there, and thank you much for watching, and I hope you have fun mixing up some purple.